don't need to really know her name, her race, where she's from. When she walks in, you find yourself staring. When she talks, you find yourself listening. When she smiles, you smile with laughter in your soul.
We're here today with the prolific, multi-talented and versatile Liz Ogumbo, not only a singer, but a fashion designer and a radio host. Thank you for joining us today. Can you just tell us who Liz is?
I come from the lakeside of Kenya. It's called Kisumu originally, even though we were born and raised in Nairobi. And there's so much heritage, so much richness in culture, so much. It's amazing. So I think for me, musically, that is where I come from.
We're sitting here because you have just released your second offering of Kenso. Please tell us about that and how the listening session was.
The listening session was definitely amazing. Now, for those of you who, or for people who are thinking, why Kenso again? First of all, I've dubbed my sound as Kenso because it is such a melange of different genres of music that I would lie if I called it hip-hop or reggae or blues or chakacha or whatever it is. So I just found it easier to actually call it Kenso because it transcends and actually brings out my Kenyan soul in so many ways. So that's why we dubbed the sound Kenso. Kenso, the Lotus Chapter, is the new album. And the Lotus Chapter, because I feel like I have evolved from the first album to the second album. I feel like there's been so much evolution in so many ways. And when you think about a lotus flower, how it emerges from a pond, and then it blooms from mid-morning till mid-afternoon in 3 days, that is how I feel my journey is actually going and flowing. So the Lotus Chapter is because I feel like a lotus, and I think my evolution represents the lotus. The experience yesterday was beautiful. I had a live listening experience because I'm one of those artists who say go live or go home. So this was really a one-on-one, a very intimate setting, and I really got to bare my soul and share my Kenso.
Started singing at 4. You learned from your grandmother, from your father, and everybody else around you. How has that journey been, and for you to create your own specific sound, because it's not like the popular sound in Kenya?
Yeah, I think for me, first, obviously, we've got to give credit to Dad and to Mom. My dad taught me a lot of songs. I mean, I was singing She Go Say, I Be Lady at 4. I mean, I was singing songs like Marupamore, which is one of my hit songs from my previous album. And the fact that I can bring them to life and rendition them and be so influenced in that way is amazing.
So you're very multifaceted. So fashion designer, radio host. Apologies.
It's actually my radio show. So I produce it, I host it, and I also, when I get time, I travel around the world and have interviews within different fashion spaces like fashion weeks, just so we can have global conversations in this global village. I also am very passionate about wine. We're about to just start my wine series called Liz Ogumbo Wine Site. But it's just because I think that this is one of the richest regions when it comes to good wine in this world. I mean, it is, to me, is the best wine in the world. And because I'm so passionate about wine and I'm a wine enthusiast, I thought, you know what, why not do this thing a bit bigger other than just drinking wine every night? Which is not a bad thing. I mean, we don't have to save the children and then stop drinking wine at night, but I'm just saying it's nice to engage and find what you love and then find ways that you can actually, it can satisfy your soul, but it can also touch lives in different ways, you know?
So now let's talk more about your music. There's a particular song I like, Big Nyash.
Is that the one you like?
Yes.
Big Nyash in the blue jeans, Big Nyash in the blue jeans, Big Nyash in the blue jeans. What are you gonna do if you don't have a big?
The Big Nyash, when we released the 2010 album, we wanted to release, because obviously we released it. I write all my music and I write them for a reason. And I was not writing it because I wanted to talk about a big nyash. I was actually writing this song and it was written because I wanted to bring conscience around the modeling industry because of the fact that girls were starving themselves to death, and I was like, we have to bring the nyash back. It's the nyash thing. If you don't have a nyash, nawa for you. That's what I did. So I tried to flip the energy back so that instead of girls feeling like they had to starve to death or they had to get on speed or crack or whatever it is they're doing on the side to just keep themselves in a certain size, I thought, you know what, I'm going to hit them up with a song. Because, you know, we're living in such a way, it's so hard to talk to these girls these days. And I hit them up with a song.
Fast forwarding to what you know about this girl.
What you know about her.
What you know about
You
her.
don't need to really know her name, her race, where she's from. When she walks in, you find yourself staring.
So What You Know About Her is a song that I wrote because last year, more than ever, I just felt like I had a headache that was not stopping. And it wasn't a headache, like it was a bit of a headache. But I feel like we live in such a pop-driven culture where the woman and womanhood and what it means to be a woman has become so confusing. And I feel bad for the girls who were just growing up watching Amber Rose Challenge and thinking, yes, let's go for it. Here we go, shwa. I just feel bad because we are losing something so special. I think that a woman is such a beautiful gift. I think that the way we talk, the way we walk, who we respond to, what we respond to, there's so many conversations in this song around this. So I just wanted to bring something up, and I thought, let me write about this and say, look, first of all, if you're a woman and you call yourself or you respond to, first of all, women, some of us call themselves the B word. I don't know, if you call yourself the B word, then you are that. Don't be mad if John is calling you that. You already call yourself that. The way you present yourself is so important. They will know you by how you talk and walk and what you do on the side. So just be careful about that.
I see your rhetoric is also very much about Africa and all things African, and I see the strand in your clothes, I see it in your music, I hear it when you speak about saving the children. You know, so what is it about Africa that inspires you so much?
I think for me, I'm an African responsible citizen. And I say that because you having an African passport does not make you African. People need to wake up and understand that I will take your own, I will revoke your own passport if you don't know. Because what's happening is, when you look at how we live and where we live, like, I'm not necessarily, I'll give you an example, I'm not necessarily from here, but I do a lot for here. And not because I'm not, I just consider myself African. Don't ask me where I'm from. I'm African. And I think that taking responsibility is about looking and saying, I'm a child in this continent, I'm an Africanist. I love this continent to death. I mean, well, I love it. Sorry, not to death. But I just think that doing things in the continent and helping develop this continent is each and every one of our responsibility. So I always say that in everything that you do individually, if every individual person in this continent was to be able to wake up and say, my name is John, I sing, and I'm going to bring this music and I'm going to touch lives through this music, and maybe I'm going to set up a music academy for African talented people because I can musically, then you're paying your school fees. And you're doing it for here. Nobody's going to do anything for this continent except us. So I just think for me, Fashion Lab is my responsibility for the continent. I don't get paid for it. I came up with this beautiful idea of why don't we start having conversations with different fashion industry stakeholders so that we can start smiling to the bank through this creative industry. Africa is so rich in fashion. So why are we broke?
In the near future, who are you looking to work with in terms of South African artists or any other African artists? Are you looking at collabos or?
So first album I had Tumi from Tumi and the Volume, that was hot. MXO, who I call the African funk boy. I had RJ Benjamin, I had, who else did we have on the, I had Zabs. Those were hot collabs. This new album I have Xander Pratt. I think Xander's fresh creatively. He's just on a different level. I'm looking forward to his sound too. I feel that it's not so much about collabs because I feel like on this album, I cannot believe that I couldn't find the artists I wanted to collab with. I could not collab with. And they were not necessarily African. They were just artists that I was like, look, I want to collab with Lauryn Hill. I want to collab with, because that's who I want. And I thought, you know what, instead of putting this thing on hold, let me release it and then collabs will come when they come. So I do want to collab with artists. I just don't know who. If you want to collab with me, call me. But Xander, I definitely wanted. Xander is musical. We got into studio. we would sit for like an hour, bang out 4 songs just like that. And I thought, what a beautiful synergy. Collab is not about, oh, Liz, I think that this guy is doing really good, so why don't you collab with Casper, because Casper is doing, I don't think that that's collab. That's a force, that's not a collab. Collab in my world is music synergy on a level where it gets you so high that you guys just collab. That's collab.
That's the collab.
That's what I'm looking for that.
And so what does the near future hold for Liz?
For Liz, I think I'm definitely going strong with fashion and music. I think this is going to be a musical year for me, for sure. I've always said to people that balancing fashion and music is not easy, because fashion is just as demanding as music. So if I want to decide to start working on fashion weeks and going into fashion weeks this year, then I need to now, you cannot do the 50-50 thing. So one's going to be 20%, one's going to be 80%. And I think that this year, I'm old enough, mature enough, and honest enough with myself to say, let's just focus on music. I mean, fashion is still happening. As long as some shops are still selling my stuff, maybe if I get into one fashion week later in the year, it's fine, but focus on getting onto the world stage. I think my music's very global.